submarines, all their wiring is track wiring. Everything is color-coded, it's in its place, it tracks around. If you pull something out, the wires come out with it, then it rolls back in. Well, that's what they helped us design it at Natick for the electrical version. When you pull it out, the whole control out, you can see the tracking, the water tube, everything is there. You can service the whole damn thing from the front. They love that. They welded to the deck, and then their combis they had to service from the back. They couldn't. They had to actually cut through the metal wall to get to the back of the combi to service it. You know, or they designed the control thing to be down on the floor. Well, where does all the water go when you're cleaning it? To the floor. So the hydrovection solved all their problems, gave them the menu stuff that they needed to do. It's a double door. We pumped up the KW, pumped up the water a little bit, and reduced the water consumption. So, but now you have the hydrovection that we can sell to our customers. Gas. See this door system? We steal that from a combi. There's a combi liner inside of this thing. So my pitch on this thing, just like the Blodgett angle iron frame, wool insulation, the standard, the door mechanism that's really made Blodgett famous, and it's reliable. Now I have steam injection in here for breads. I have steam injection here that works just like combi. I can actually lower the temperature. I can't do 10 pans at a time, but I can do a la carte cooking for these casinos now like never before. And they can bring the bejesus out of this door, it's going to find. We haven't been able to perfect the dripping, so if I go full steam all the time and increase, I'll have water dripping out of here, and we haven't figured out how to do that without ruining this turnbuckle system. But once we get there, you know, this will become a full-blown combi. Okay, but right now, we're strategically selling it as a hydrovection. Remember all those buying groups I told you that are in there? Well, those suckers, they sell all our premium stuff, but they won't sell my combi. They sell Altasham's combi because that's what's in their buying group. You with me? So I say, screw them. I'll come out with the hydrovection. Now I got the people that have a contract with Altasham selling my hydrovection all over the country, right? And now that we're making this, hey look, we did $51 million in this thing. And you're like, are you kidding me? They didn't do 51 million at Altasham, I can tell you that, not in their combis. So now I'm sneaking this in through the back door by not calling it a combi and saying, look, does everything a combi does for half the price. So that's the reasoning in my mind why I say the things that I say. I may drop that to a dealer, but I'm actually messing with his head. I'm putting information in his head that he's going to be thinking about. Well, I can buy this, it's in our buying group. I get the back end rebate. What's in it for me? He says that all the time. So if I'm talking to a dealer, what's in it for him? For a chef, I tell him all the things you can do with it. Steaming, baking, a la carte cooking. The roasting is unbelievable. The results that you get out of this is incredible. It's easy to maintain. It's half the price of a freaking combi, right? That's what's in it for him. He's saying, damn, this is pretty impressive. 4 fan speeds, auto reversing. So I go into those little details because that's what's exciting to him. He could give a fuck if it's in an angle iron frame, right?
Pretty much.
So what's in it for the person you're talking to, but there's also a lot of strategic information that we put in there to keep in the back of their head, right? Distribution, they won't sell my combi, we're going to rename it as a hydrovection. Sell it that way. And it doesn't steam the same way, but it could be a boileless combi if I really wanted it to. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm just shoehorning this into the market because I want it to be successful. Hand shower, cutoffs from the front. The gas version has burners, so you have the burners in the back here. Okay, so it's a great product. So that's the two Blodgett oven and hydrovection. Doug, do you want to take them through the griddle?
Sure.
Chef, on the ovens, do they both have removable shelves or sliding shelves?
Remember,
all of them,
on the
or
convection
the bottom?
oven, sir. Thank you very much. Good for me. Good for me. If I have an erection that lasts more than 4 hours,
Yeah,
it's
look
because
out.
of this. So, I don't put the sliding oven rack system in here because it would rust because of the steam injection. This is mixing outside air with inside air, and it's a drier environment, and that thing will have a longer lifespan.
Are all the shelves sliding?
Just the one.
The one on the bottom.
The bottom. It's the bottom is where we put it, and really what we designed that slide-out rack for is when people are doing roast. They always use them in double stack. To open the door, they can set it on the slide-out rack and then slide it in. They want to check the temperature, they can slide it out, and you're not pulling a 50-pound roast out.
I mean, all the shelves can come out and you can change the height of them and everything like that.
Put 50 pounds on that sucker and then pull that out.
Are you talking about
Metal against metal.
The glide rack?
Yes, the glide rack that comes standard on the DFG as a premium. Now, as we get into next year, we'll make sure we have all that shit in there. They were slapping this together as we were bringing it into the truck and putting it on. These are very two prototypes that we just wanted them in the truck and we wanted to go. And it was more important getting them in the truck. And we got the sequence wrong, but we'll fix that next time. We'll start with convection, then go to high convection. If we do that. So I'm going to turn it over to Doug, and he's going to start on Magic Kitchen.
One thing I think that I'm sure that Tim is focused on is the difference between this and this. They're both a convection.
Yep.
The convection state, this is a convection oven, this is a convection oven. The difference is between this and this is when you take it, you add moisture, steam to a product. Remember one thing, this is 60,000 BTUs of transfer power. This is 60,000, you put 80,000 BTUs of transfer power. But you can still open the door, stick your hand inside at 400 degrees, you're not going to fly out of there.
That's the steam in there.
But when you got steam in there, remember this, steam is 923,000 BTUs of transfer power. And when you take and add steam with convection, you put them together, you set about 20 to 30% steam. And with 400 degrees temperature, this makes a wonderful a la carte oven where you can open the door, put something in, shut the door, and within a couple minutes it's already glazing, it's already perking, it's already ready to go. Here, so you might as well watch grass grow. You know, I mean, it does a
Remember on
great
a
job.
Friday night in the casino? You can't get food out the door. That's why hydrovection or combis and things like that, that transfer power, he's right on the money.
On Friday nights, this door in the kitchen sounds like this. That's all it sounds like because they're putting stuff in, slam the door, putting stuff in, slam the door. And what happens every time they open the door? Yep, the burner shut down, everything shuts down, and it starts all over again. Here, when you do shut the door, it lights, you got that steam, you got that 923, and you got more of a heat transfer situation than you have with this. So for an a la carte situation, this one here is really the best deal in the block. Especially if they're doing 2 or 3 cans of steam product, this is the best deal in the block. It's a steamer. It's not going to replace a big full-blown boiler unit, but most people don't do 10, 15, 20 cans of steam frozen products at one time anyway. So this does a great job. That's where you have to sit there and ask the customer. I always ask the customer, number one, what do you want to do with this? Number two, I said, I try to take and bring them in for a demo. There's 5 ways to sell this equipment. Number one is introduce the customer, who are you, what type of product you're going to run, what do you want to do? Number two is, what are you doing next Tuesday? What do you mean? I'd like for you to come in with your product and one of our gentlemen will take it, or they will come and basically show you how to take it and put that product in. 87% of the people you bring into your demo center, you will sell when you do that. The third thing you do is after you get the person shaking their head like this, you basically ask them when you're going to need this. When you do this type of situation, price becomes number 4, not number 1. The first thing I hear from a rep is the thing's too expensive, or a distributor, the thing's too expensive. I know they haven't done A, number 1, or they haven't done a demo, number 2. And all they're doing is looking at the price book and comparing prices from prices around. That's all they're doing. But when you bring a customer in, you get their commitment, they come in to do the demo with it, you'll close 87% of the sales when you do that type of situation. The next thing you do is make sure that they have the power, service capability to take and to operate that unit, so when you do deliver it, that it actually able to function. And then the fifth thing is when that unit goes in and gets started up, make sure that you're there to answer questions and help them through the program. If you do 5 things like that, you'll have a successful sale and you'll be able to take in and have happy customers. The worst thing I hear is a person always on the cell phone trying to sit there and cover up for something they didn't do those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They sold a piece of equipment where the worst thing I heard was when a rep called me up and says, I sold 5 conveyor ovens today. I said, great, what type of operation, what type of product? I don't know. That scares the heck out of me. This guy might want to do ice cubes. You don't know what they want to do. You know, and then you got a guy going in there, you got equipment that's been shipped there, you got all that invoice, you got equipment that's been shipped there, it's all been installed, and the product doesn't even fit the product, doesn't even fit the oven. So be sure you just do those 5 things with that.
The other thing too is if you think that it's not my job to worry about service, it's not my job to worry about installation, it's the dealer's responsibility. If you let those people handle it, you'll be disappointed on every freaking job. I've even paid extra for people to go in and make sure, and I'm still running into issues. So if you want to protect your reputation and you want to grow the reputation with the end user, because that's where your money's going to be made. The relationship with the end user, and you make sure it's getting done right as if it's your mother or father, and do the extra stuff, they will buy more shit from you than you can imagine. That's the trick. You keep that relationship with them and answer their calls. You answer calls on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, and you wait and see. The calls will drop because you're taking care of issues, and you handle them right away. People think I'm a hero. Monday through Friday, I don't get all the calls. I get them sometimes on Saturday and Sunday, but not as many because people know that we'll get the job done and we'll take care of it. Thanks for the heads up. I'll have somebody there Monday morning. Now you're ahead of everybody else that's calling on Monday. They're not getting there till Thursday.
I've been around this game for about 27 years in the food service industry. I came out of the aviation industry. And, I look back to the reps in which I've made it, the guys in which have made it. They're retired, a lot of them retired. And the ones that do that, they do hands-on. Strictly when that piece of equipment goes in, they follow that piece of equipment that goes in. If that service guy has never done an installation on that copy, you make sure that you're there to make sure that that thing's installed properly. Because it might be, you might have it hooked up to the air conditioner, you don't know what he's got going on. You make sure it's installed properly, you make sure it's trained, you walk it all the way through, babysit that. And when you do that with one unit, the next thing you do, like in Texas, we start out with one unit like that, next thing we get an order for 15 copies, next thing we get an order for 25 copies. You babysit that one, but if you sit there and you don't, you just sit there and let it be somebody else's responsibility, you are going to crash and burn. You just put your life into their hands and you are going to crash, I'll tell you, because these service guys are not trained to do this type of stuff. People that are out there today, they're just keep bouncing around, most of them bounce around different places. And you got to make sure that you're there. You've got the factory to where it can support you. If you don't know it, you call the factory and say, hey Larry, hey Dan, how is this supposed to work? You do that. You'll be successful if you do that type of situation. You got to do it from the birth, from conception all the way through. If you don't do it,
especially as you're building your network. Call on service companies as a part of it. There is important to call on as your dealer. You call on them and make them part of your normal routine. Find out who's the best guys, who's truly certified, who's not, who's going to cover your back when you're going to need to call somebody. Dude, I need you to cover me. And if you don't develop that relationship, man, you're going to be out of the business. And this, right now, this business has an opportunity to make a ton of money for whoever wants to be in it. You know, if that's your goal, you got to have a service network that you personally know somebody. You got his cell phone number, you got his house phone number. You can call him, and if he'll take your call, you know, at midnight saying, I'm in deep shit, I need help now. Because this stuff gets installed all hours of the day and night, and there's crazy shit. But it can be really fun and profitable if you do those little things. Because we've done it all. We work from independent representatives, selling stuff every single month, the deadlines, the quotas, and all that bullshit. I never worried about any of it. I called on as many customers as I could a day. I averaged 10. And I called in the service companies early in the morning or late at night or mid-afternoon, and that was my turn. And the results came because I was involved in every aspect, and it got easier and easier and easier as my relationships got stronger and better. And I solved more problems. Like he said to me last night, I should have sent in a kit of spare parts for the installation on this job. Now I'm going to fly in there, and it may or may not be working. It may or may not be up and running. We spent a ton of money on this. So any profit that we made on this oven, now I'm losing because I'm flying in there and it may not be right. You can prevent all that bullshit if you think ahead, but it's the experience that we can share with you.
When I was vice president of international sales for Middleby, we started out at 1.5 million, and when I left it was 43 million. And what I did is I protected myself. Any piece of equipment I shipped out of the factory, I shipped an international service kit with it. I basically sold that kit at cost. Why? Because I didn't want any naked ovens out there. That's what I call them, naked ovens, when you don't have support, you don't have parts. You got a naked oven. Basically, you got the kimono open, and your competitor will eat you alive. Because they got a dealer, they got support, they got parts, they got all that. Here you got somebody that parachutes an oven in from the United States into a country and opens up a store, and the next day the oven's down, the motor's down, or whatever. It takes 2 weeks to get something in there. And you got service guys that don't even know how to take and sharpen a pencil, let alone replace a troubleshoot the unit. You're in big trouble. So I always try to do as much as I can do to protect myself. When I set up a distributor, I set up the training where I did the sales training. I had a guy with me that did the service training. And I sit with the oven in the box and all the extra parts in it. When that oven had a problem, that they take it out of that box, they can put it in, the guy would be going within an hour. And by doing that, we were way ahead of our competition. And that's why when Papa John started outside the United States, they never looked back at any other anybody but Middleby. Because why? Because we set it up right, we did the whole program. When there's a problem, take care of it. You didn't ever take care of it. Every manufacturer has problems. And every manufacturer doesn't have a 100% foolproof piece of equipment. Some have a flaw. You have to sit there and recognize what the flaw is and have to compensate.